This week in Helldivers has been something, and next week, and the hopeful appearance of a much-needed performance patch, cannot come fast enough, as Arrowhead now finds itself jumping from one burning fire to another, with many of their community-aimed missteps finding their way now into gaming media. What happened, and where does it take us next? Well, that's just some of the topics on tap for today. I wanted to first say thank you so much for all the support you've been showing me and the channel. Please take a moment to hit subscribe and to ring the notifications bell to receive my future upload alerts, as we've got something a bit different for today, as this video is sponsored. Rules of engagement: the gray state is what happens when a tactical shooter and an RPG hook up. You play as an elite operative known as a Strider, sent into an unstable dimension known as the Horrorverse, where you encounter crazy monstrosities like this. Your mission is to retrieve a priceless artifact known as the Vertex, but this isn't going to be easy, as you're not only fighting the environment, but other players, and a PvEvP tactical experience with a twist. Enter build crafting, where you can uniquely spec out your character to suit your build with a massive talent tree. Want to smash things as a tank? You've got it. Silent and sexy assassinations? You can do that too. And who doesn't like fire? Well, there's an entire class for that as well. Now, as you drop in, every player starts off with the same basic loadout, and you power up through hunting beasts, scavenging, and popping other players. So there's no risk of losing what you equipped and dropped into the round with. Plus, there's no pay-to-win BS mechanics, as the in-game shop is strictly cosmetics. So if you're looking for a wild blend of tactical shooter meets action RPG with a twisted setting and gameplay, check in the video description and pinned comments for links to the game's official Discord server, wishlist them over on Steam, and thanks to Gray State Studio for sponsoring this video. With everything currently ongoing outside of the game, it's probably worth a quick look inside of it as well. And the current major order is looking like it might once again come down to the wire. Yulheim is currently at the receiving end of the full wrath of the Helldivers, who have slammed headlong into a level 26 defense. Now, with 2 days remaining, the divers have to finish up Yulheim, then have to full liberate Beckham 3 and finish it up by liberating and holding Marfark, which is a very tall order in that amount of time. Intel directly from Helldivers HQ, aka the Helldivers companion app, shows just over 47,000 divers currently logged on and fighting for managed democracy, with over 31,000 of those hitting the automatons. Now, according to the latest stats, Yulheim, with just over 25,000 sets of boots on the ground, is projected to be secured in just under 14 hours, which would leave roughly a day and a half to push through Beckham 3 and ultimately Marfark. Here's a question for you. Do you see us reaching our final objective, or are the Helldivers not going to finish this one up? Drop a comment and let's see where the community lands on this one. Of course, the announcement that Arrowhead is working on their next title is nothing new, as we heard from the CEO months ago that this new game will not be Helldivers 3, but it will be entirely self-funded, cutting ties with Sony on this project, which had financially backed the studio on both Helldivers and Helldivers 2. Now, the latest on this project comes to us from Insider Gaming, who took a look at the latest Arrowhead job listings, where they saw this one seeking a talented senior systems designer to join the design department to help shape the foundation of a brand new, unannounced project. The job listing goes on to say, quote, "This is your chance to be part of a co-op action game from the start. You'll be at the heart of building and tuning the core systems, progression loops, and combat feel like an Arrowhead game." However, what Insider Gaming did not touch on is the point that this job listing also says hands-on with Unreal Engine. Strong experience with Unreal is essential. Now, much has been said about Arrowhead's current engine of choice, Autodesk Stingray, and its limitations due to it now being a sunsetted project for many years, but there is equal talk, let's call it buzz, about Unreal and its struggles with open world environments. Stutters and freezes abound in titles like the Ark Survival series and more recently Borderlands 4, even when playing on top-shelf hardware. However, one studio that seems to have Unreal Engine truly dialed in is Embark, who not only produced a fluid and well-received multiplayer in the finals, but are also currently crushing it with their most recent title, Arc Raiders. Now, I honestly don't know what is in the water over there at Embark, but whereas everyone else seems to fall victims to Unreal's stuttering pitfalls, they have that thing truly running at full speed, and it looks and performs just so well. Sticking with these performance discussions, and Helldivers anti-cheat GameGuard has been front and center for a while now, with talks ranging from how it does nothing to prevent cheaters, to it being a resource hog, and all the way up to the more extreme, how it contributes to component failures. Plus, there are multiple reports that it has access to all sorts of apps that it should not, like for example cameras and mics, despite it being there to stop cheaters. CEO Sham Jorjani has been getting hit with all sorts of comments about this kernel-level inclusion to the game that does nothing but cause problems. Here's one of his latest quotes, repeating it a bajillion times. Helldivers 2 studio CEO insists GameGuard anti-cheat isn't behind the game's performance issues. Quote, "We see no evidence of it." Fellow Helldivers content creator Thick Fillet got in on this Discord discussion, posting this comment. Go to the GameGuard FAQ and read through it. There's also ancient threads on GameGuard because all the Korean cash grab MMOs use it. It's not a good anti-cheat. It has problems with certain Windows updates and not playing well with other random software people have, like malware bytes, and doesn't always properly close on exiting the game, which can cause lag if you reopen Helldivers or even reopen other games. Doesn't stop cheaters or leakers, and it also didn't stop anyone from cheating the sample major order. Y'all had to put a hard cap on samples people can donate. It could legit be causing issues that are attributed to the game instead. Also, next time you're at home, just open the game, sit on the ship, then open Task Manager and look how much CPU GameGuard is using. Now, Jorjani saw this and did respond with this, quote, "Okay, gotchas. I'll make a point of talking about that." All right, me just speaking from personal experience here, but GameGuard is absolutely useless at doing anything like it claims to do. It has zero effect on preventing cheaters from doing their thing, and furthermore, it gets into systems that I feel it should not have access to. Thick's description of how it doesn't close properly is also accurate, and overall, the thing is an absolute nuisance. Arrowhead probably chose it way back when because it was super cheap, which, okay, that might have been the economical option back when the studio was expecting max player counts across all platforms on Helldivers 2 to be mere fractions of what they currently are, but with all the success they've seen and the amount of money they've produced, it's time to pull just a very small fraction of that out of the bank. You need to dump GameGuard and pick up a real anti-cheat, if the game needs one at all. Now, as many of you know, there's been some hubbub within the community centered on censorship and inclusion into the Commander program, Arrowhead's content creator scene, with both yours truly and Eravin kind of caught up in this storm. Well, it looks like our situations, along with the game's performance issues, have made it to the gaming news sites, with both FandomWire and GamesRadar running pieces on the current situation and drama surrounding the creator scene. Now, in particular, FandomWire has some very interesting ties to what's currently going on, especially in terms of my situation, which I'm going to touch on here in just a moment. Anyways, here's how they kicked it off. Helldivers 2 creator program drama explained. Is Arrowhead turning into the Ministry of Truth? Helldivers 2 creator program explodes as Arrowhead removes critics, stonewalls top creators, and GameGuard destroys expensive hardware. Helldivers 2 just speed ran, turning its creator program into an actual Ministry of Truth situation, and the irony couldn't be thicker if you spread it on toast. Over the past week, Arrowhead's Propaganda Commanders initiative has imploded spectacularly as creators got removed for mild criticism, systematically excluded for months despite merit, and watched their expensive hardware get fried, all while making content for a game that apparently wants them gone anyway. The timing couldn't be worse either. Liberty Day approaches on October 26th, player counts keep dropping, and the studio just announced delaying content updates to fix performance issues that Into the Untested created back in early September, and yes, that was me just injecting that into the article. Losing your loudest advocates during a crisis when you need them most, that's what they call a humongous L nowadays. The article goes on to say LtBuzzLitebeer got removed from the program on October 10th after refusing to self-censor a video discussing engine overhaul rumors. The disrespectful part, though, he was reading an article debunking clickbait and misinformation that was actually defending Arrowhead's position. For 7 seconds, his October 9th video showed YouTube search results displaying clickbait thumbnails while discussing the problem. Program management demanded he remove that specific clip. He politely declined on principle, was immediately kicked out. But the article he was reading, it was written by yours truly, where he called out AI-generated thumbnails with all caps titles about massive engine updates based on absolutely nothing, and criticized manufactured hype for algorithm engagement. Okay, let me hop in here as we press pause very quickly on this article. And yesterday, just out of the blue, the author of this FandomWire article, and also the article I was reviewing during the video that ultimately got me booted from the Commander program, dropped into my public Discord and posted this. Hope it's okay to post this here, but I'm the FandomWire writer who did that fact-check piece about the engine rumors. Just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you, LtBuzzLitebeer, for covering it so fairly on your channel, and I'm genuinely sorry my article inadvertently played a part in your removal from the Propaganda Commanders program. What happened to creators like you and Eravin has been extremely frustrating and downright infuriating to follow personally, and is completely backwards of how things should be. You're exactly the kind of advocates this game needs, and I hope Arrowhead recognizes that and does right by you sooner than later, because if not, Helldivers 2 is never recovering from the it's so over phase this time around. Now, I've got to say, this was pretty cool to see, and definitely a first for me. Now, in terms of the apology, reviewing the article had nothing to do with me getting removed from the Propaganda Commanders. That was entirely on another party or parties, so I would say to the author, don't sweat it. Anyways, back to the article. Buzz, like us, was literally doing damage control for the studio, educating his subscriber audience about realistic expectations, and got punished for briefly showing examples of the clickbait ecosystem while condemning it. Okay, I'm going to press pause again. I did want to interject here that I wasn't doing damage control for Arrowhead, as the article was doing that just fine. I was just reviewing what the article said, but I was also educating my viewers on what was happening. That much is true. They go on to say that hit way too close to home, making a satirical game about totalitarian propaganda while simultaneously trying to control your creator community's narrative. The jokes write themselves, except nobody's laughing because careers and livelihoods are involved. But Buzz isn't alone. The situation gets significantly worse when you look at the full pattern. And they go on to list out Eravin's year-long gatekeeping nightmare. Reached out multiple times in 2024, expressing interest, 0 responses. February 2025, not invited to Sweden trip despite being top 12 by viewership. Told, quote, "We have plans for you. We love that guy," publicly on streams. DM'd February 11th. God damn, do they hate me for not inviting you, with promises. Redirected to third-party management who kept delaying for months. July 2025, finally told his attitude disqualified him from all the waiting. Asked to rehabilitate disposition for 6 weeks after venting frustration. Completely requested period, then completely ghosted while new creators added. October 2025, retiring Helldivers theme VTuber model, drastically reducing content. I did want to say that Eravin's video, which I have now watched several times start to finish, did have some dates that I think were incorrect, and I don't know if it's been said yet, but when he says February 2024, March 2024, etc., I think he meant to say 2025, as the program really only came to existence early this year. So yeah, just wanted to drop that in there. The article then goes on to outline the hardware and performance issues suffered by fellow Commander members, and I'll include links to all of these creators and their actual videos they uploaded on their specific issues. Just look in the video description and pinned comments for that one. There's also a breakdown of the program perks for being a part of the Commanders, and it says free instant unlocked war bonds, advanced update timing notice, NDA access to patch notes before public release, direct developer communication channel, and official promotion from Arrowhead socials. Outside creators like Eravin competing without these advantages during Warbond launches and major updates, they're essentially handicapped from the starting line while being told it's their attitude holding them back, not systematic exclusion. I can understand what the sentiment here is with the perks and exclusion statements, but I would say this, as a longtime content creator, you build up your audience and you attract eyes to your content because of your efforts. Viewers are there to listen and see you, and if you are producing and uploading top shelf content, that passion and professionalism shines through, and that's what viewers like to see. Okay, let's continue on. They go on to say, the Ministry of Truth comparison stops being funny when you realize creators are being evaluated not on content quality, viewership metrics, or community value, but on willingness to stay quiet about legitimate problems affecting their ability to work. Buzz had, I would interject here, has a full-time job and called YouTube his passion project. That much is correct. Eravin pioneered the Ghost Divers stealth gameplay strategies and created extensive Helldivers 2 guides, helping thousands. Both brought measurable value. Both got shut out for not staying silent. All that being said, Arrowhead boss Shams Georgiani has since, and finally, addressed the situation on Discord and somehow made everything worse with a single sentence. Here's the actual Reddit post, and it goes on to quote Shams. It says, "One thing I'll say is that we work with a partner for the propaganda commanders, so I'll have to check in there and see what's what." Check in there and see what's what? This partner has been systematically excluding your top creators for over a year. Again, those dates were off in Eravin's article, at least to the best of my knowledge, demanding attitude adjustments for expressing frustration, and removing people for reading articles defending your studio. If Arrowhead leadership genuinely didn't know anything about this until creators started publicly retiring their Helldivers identities, that's arguably worse than knowing and approving it. Then we start to get into the weeds with speculation about the program itself. Here's a Reddit post. In classic AH fashion, this partner has been severely mishandled if the situation was able to go on for this long without a single person in the studio being aware of it. Of course, I have severe doubts this partner exists outside the studio. Exactly right. Either they genuinely have zero oversight over a program using their branding and giving out privileged information under NDA, or this partner deflection is convenient cover for decisions they'd rather not own publicly. Neither option looks good when your community already has trust issues from subpar communication practices, weapon balance overcorrections, and technical debt admissions. So just me chiming in about this comment about Shams, which I know a lot of the community has latched onto, and you can either take this one of two ways. Now, as the CEO of Arrowhead, which I think last time I heard anything is now approaching 100 team members, people are asking why, as the top dog at the studio, Shams does not know what is happening within the Commander program. But I'm going to throw this in as an alternate take on it. At least to me, it read as, we've got this third-party group to handle it for us, and it's not being handled, so it's time to make some phone calls, because, you know, this can't go on like this. And before I get that inevitable question, let me debunk the tinfoil hat wearers right now. Yes, it is 1,000,000% true that the commanders are run by non-Arrowhead personnel, so we've got that out of the way. Continuing on, indeed, you can't just slap propaganda commanders branding on a program, give participants NDAs with privileged studio information, fly them to Sweden headquarters, then claim ignorance when mismanagement drives away your best advocates. Which, I gotta say, I do mostly agree with that statement. The community isn't buying it either. Reddit threads discussing Georgiani's response are filled with skepticism about whether this third party even exists as described, which we just touched on, and I told you the truth, or if it's just Arrowhead employees operating under a different organizational label. The worst part, October 26th, Liberty Day needs to deliver something spectacular to restore goodwill after Into the Untested's disaster, Rupture Strain's removal, and now this creator exodus. But who's going to hype it up when you've systematically pushed away the people with the biggest megaphones? Can't propagandize for managed democracy when your propaganda commanders keep quitting or getting removed for telling the truth. Now, GamesRadar ran with this same basic topic just a few hours after FandomWire posted its article, and I'm not going to go through the entire new GR article right now, but I did want to say that GamesRadar goes on to say that I didn't specify which clip was targeted that led to me getting removed. And just give me a sec to check on who wrote this. His name is Austin Wood. Okay, Austin, all you've got to do is check my video feed. But in case you watch this specific video, here's the slide I showed for 7-ish seconds after running a YouTube search based on the FandomWire article. So there you go. And now you know. And also, for any of my viewers wanting to read over these articles, I'll include links to all of this down in the video description and pinned comment. And finally, let's close this roundup on a Helldivers high note of sorts with Remember Beach, as the planet Seyshel Beach was liberated earlier this week after a bitter campaign conducted there by a dedicated group of divers. Now, this date will live on in Helldivers lore, forever known as Avengement Day. And I know this must hit just that little extra strong for all my Team Green divers out there. I know it's been a long road to travel on this redemption arc, but you finally made it a reality, so GG's. Upcoming this week in Helldivers, I've been told that meetings and decisions are in the works concerning my ban from the propaganda commanders, and I will of course bring you any updates on the entire program, the other commanders who have stood by my side, and if it arises, anything on the Eravin discussion as well. But here's where you get to sound off. Anything Helldivers is the topic for this discussion. What are you expecting next week from the upcoming performance tweaks? The entire Commander program drama, and even the beach are all things I look forward to having discussions about. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring the notifications bell to receive my future upload alerts. A massive and heartfelt thanks goes out to all of our channel members, for without your support, content like this would not be possible. And if you are at all interested, just hit join on my YouTube homepage, as we've got multiple tiers and perks waiting for you. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.